Hello, my name is Gregory Prosy of Livewire News Service, and we're here at the SOS rally, and we're supporting people with disabilities. I'm here with Donna Long at the rally here at the College of Staten Island. So, Donna, the questions that I have to ask you is, what are we going to do here today, and what are you doing here today?
Today we are going to hear presentations regarding the priorities that we want to highlight. We want to ensure that our direct support professionals get an 8.5% increase in their salaries, and we want to ensure that there is development for residential opportunities.
Wow.
And I am here as a parent, but also as the coordinator of the event today. I co-chair the Advocacy Committee committee, and my daughter Janine is home 3 years with no services.
Now, Donna, we have to get an 8.5 what? We have to get
8.5% COLA, which is a cost of living increase.
Very cool. So everybody here should get that increase today.
All the DSPs.
And what is it called again, Donna?
They're DSPs, they're direct support professionals. They are the backbone of the agencies. They care for our individuals.
And they need an 8.5 what, Donna?
8.5% COLA.
Which means what?
It means a cost of living increase.
Wow. So we'll try to do what we can to help that, Donna.
We get the word out, and this is a citywide event today.
Wow, very cool.
All 5 boroughs are involved.
Wow, very cool.
Okay.
Donna, I really, really appreciate it, and I'll be around if you have any questions for me.
I will be.
My name is Joseph Pellegrino, and I'm talking to
Winifred Schiff from the Interagency Council.
So, Winifred, what's your purpose for being here today?
Today we're here for a rally to tell the governor and the legislature that we need funding for our programs, and more importantly, to make sure that we have staff to provide services.
Now give me a little insight on what you do.
So the Interagency Council is a membership organization. Providers of services are members of IAC, and we do all kinds of advocacy and training, and we provide information to not just providers but also families and people receiving services.
Thank you very much. Now, can you tell me what's your role here in this rally?
Today I'm the MC, so it's my pleasure to introduce people and also to talk about what the issues actually are so that everybody has the information they need so they can advocate effectively.
Thank you very much. This has been Joey Pellegrino signing off. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, thank you. Winifred Schiff from the Interagency Council of Developmental Disabilities Agencies, in collaboration with the Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, and Staten Island Developmental Disabilities Councils, New York City Fair, Any Day, SWAN, LIAND, the Dorney Family Committee, and NIDA. Those are all organizations that advocate on behalf of us and our rights. And we thank you so much for joining us today. It's National Developmental Disabilities Month, and there are rallies going on today, both upstate and on Long Island and here. And OPWDD's theme this year is Beyond the Conversation. They are challenging us to think bigger and bolder about what's next. Well, it's budget time in New York State, and today we are going to talk bigger and bolder about what's not in the governor's budget proposal. which had to be a mistake, right? Since it's black and white, just like an Oreo.
Exactly.
Everyone knows we're still in the midst of a workforce crisis, and that 1 year of increases can't fix more than a decade, I'm sorry, of neglect. At this time, I'd like to introduce Chris Marchioni, Executive Director of PCCF.
Okay, so welcome everybody, and whoa, Staten Island. This is some turnout. And I definitely don't just have Staten Island here. I think if I say Brooklyn, who's here from Brooklyn? All right, dare I say Manhattan? Queens? Oh, okay, all right. The Bronx. All right, I'm going to take one more leap. How about Long Island? They're doing their own. That's right. That's right. So this is great. You know, usually we see the same faces when we have gatherings like this, and in my 30 years plus of doing this work, I've been to a lot of gatherings, and they've been small. They usually are the same people. It's so great to see such a diverse community come together and support people with an intellectual disability. This is just wonderful. We have business leaders here. We have community-based organizations, faith-based leaders. We have lawyers here. We have insurance brokers. The list goes on and on. We have scholars, educators, academics. They're all here with us, standing with people with developmental disabilities. And we have disabled activists. That's the most important part, and that's why we're here. So 36 years ago, President Reagan proclaimed that March is National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. And we are way beyond awareness. As Winnie said, we are beyond conversation. We are moving into action. And that's what today is all about. There are actions going on across New York State and across the nation to bring the workforce crisis, the direct support professional workforce crisis up front, and bring communities together to see how we can have engaged dialogue and change things and have transformative change. So today you're going to hear from disabled activists, self-advocates, parents. You're going to hear from direct support professionals. And you're going to hear from leaders from provider organizations share their stories. They are the storytellers today. So please listen carefully, and together let's take some action to make things better. I'm going to have Joe Morigliano, who's a good friend of mine for 16 years. He wanted just to say a few words.
Yes, hi, my name is Joseph Morigliano, and I've been disabled all my life, so I understand the struggles that each and every one of you go through. As I tell Chris and all the other people that I meet, I tell them that we need people like us in the room to make change happen, because we are the people that need the services and that understand the services. We don't need politicians making decisions for us that will never have to use the services that we do, and that's the bottom line. We need people that are disabled to change the system. We don't need politicians to do it.
That's right, Joe. At the College of Staten Island, I wanted to thank Rob Wallace, the Vice President of External Affairs, and the Interim President, Tim Lynch, for giving us this space. Also, let's not forget, you know what else happened 36 years ago? This place, this land that we're standing on, these buildings around us, you know, many of them were confining people, children and adults with intellectual disabilities. The Willowbrook State School. And that was closed down 36 years ago today. Not today, in September, sorry. But it's interesting what happens in history. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Winnie Schiff.
Hi, Assemblymember Sam Pirozzolo. Would you like to come up and say a few words?
How we doing? Good morning! There we go. My name is Assemblyman Sam Pirozzolo, and I have got to say that what this gentleman just said is 100% correct. If elected officials had to use the services that they provide to other people, those services would change immediately. So I happen to be the new kid on the block. and I want to let you know that I'm born and raised on Staten Island, and my ears are open when I'm in Albany. And any opportunity, any chance that I get to advocate for Staten Island, especially for people who are disabled, I take that opportunity. So I want you to know that during this budget process, I will be paying as keen attention as I possibly can to making sure that we get funding for Staten Island, to make sure that we get equal pay, because where are the cookies? Because it's like black and white, right? The disparity in pay. So I just wanted to be here today to show my support, say thank you very much, and that I am here for you. I stand with you. Have a good day.
Thank you so very much, Assemblyman Pirzolo. I would also like to welcome Ian from Assemblymember Tannousis' office, and also we're fortunate to have Gianna from Senator Lanza's office, and Rebecca from Senator Jessica Scarcella-Spanton's office. Thank you so much for joining us. So, we're here to tell the legislature and the governor how to make the correction in the budget that we need. Last year's budget began to turn things around for our community, but if we don't continue to make progress, we'll end up right back where we started. So let's tell Albany, finish what you started! Finish what you started! Finish where we started! Now there's going to be a little quiz later, so pay attention. We need an 8.5% COLA, and our direct support professionals need a $4,000 direct support wage enhancement, an actual salary increase, to show that we recognize the life-preserving and life-affirming work that they do. Our dedicated, talented, caring, well-trained staff are mostly women of color. Moms that have to work 2 or even 3 jobs to make ends meet because of the low salaries we are able to pay. And New York State must have thought that our direct support wage enhancement of $4,000 was a good idea, because that is exactly what they're giving to DSPs who work for the state. Doing exactly the same job with the same people. Actually, it's a $4,000 increase for upstate state workers and a $6,000 increase for downstate. Of course, those workers deserve the increases. But whatever happened to equal pay for equal work? Wear your equal packet proudly, because the message is equal pay for equal work. Yes! Equal work. I can't see. Equal work. Equal pay. Equal pay. Equal pay. Equal pay. I can't see. Equal pay. Equal pay. Okay, so providing a wage that recognizes how important direct care staff are to the people they support not only shows respect for them, but also for those who depend on them to live the kind of lives that some of us take for granted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. While last year's COLA was the first meaningful increase in over a decade, this year's proposed 2.5% COLA totally misses the mark. While the cost of everything has risen at an alarming rate, providers have discontinued programs. They turn people away because there just isn't funding to support the services needed. What we need is a, what? An 8.5% COLA. And that's based on the Consumer Price Index. 8.5! 8.5! That would allow us to continue. 8.5! 8.5! 8.5! 8.5 now! 8.5! It would allow us to continue to rebuild our overstretched system so we can properly support New Yorkers with IDD. So we're here today to make sure that the legislature and the governor includes what is fair and right in the final state budget. And before I welcome some other people up here to tell their stories, there's a couple of other things I want to mention. Our babies and toddlers need early intervention so they can live their best lives and need less supports as they grow up. because of underfunding, we don't have staff in this program either.
Right.
We need 11%. 11% for early intervention. And our schools that educate kids, same problem. We need 10%. We need a 10% increase for our special education schools. So we need $4,000 for direct support wage enhancement. We need 8.5% for COLA. We need 10% for early intervention. No. We need 10% for special ed. You guys should correct me. And we need 11% for early intervention. So don't forget those things. So our first speaker to talk about residential services is a mom that I know pretty well, and her name is Mary McGuire. Mary, are you near me?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Mary McGuire Weefer, and this is my husband, Steve. And I've been up since 4:30 this morning. Like most mornings, my mind racing nonstop, wondering if I will ever find a place for our son Nicholas to live. A home where, like now, he can live with others, where he's happy, safe, and loved. And I'm wondering, will I find this home before I die? Anyone know of any OPWD residential openings? Or of any planned funding for new residential opportunities? Or better yet, does anyone know any existing residences not struggling continuously with staffing issues? Let me tell you a little bit about Nicholas. Well, he is as tall and handsome as my husband. And he has the same beautiful heart and smile as his two sisters. He has autism, seizure disorder, and is nonverbal. But by all means, nonverbal does not mean quiet.
Right.
He understands simple receptive language and can follow 1 to 2 step directions. He lives at home with me, my husband Steve, his younger sister Katie, who's getting her master's in occupational therapy, and his older sister, an RN at NYU, recently moved to the other island, Long Island. Nicholas needs assistance with most of his daily living skills. Meal prep, showering, brushing his teeth, wiping his backside, tying his shoelaces, and identifying the front and back of clothes, to name a few. He has somewhat an idea of safety, but not necessarily can identify danger. Because Nicholas is nonverbal and not always to express his wants and needs to those around him, he occasionally gets frustrated, or he can experience sensory overload. During these situations, he can exhibit moments of challenging behaviors, which is a nice way of saying aggressive behavior. If removed from a situation and taken to a quiet place, he's able to work through his crisis and safely calm himself down. I gave up my job on Wall Street, a career of 26 years ago, to care for Nicholas, so I could take him to speech and OT every day after school. So basically, we have a one-income family. My husband and I are in our 60s, and my husband is retiring soon from managing the co-op where we live. Some people have to give back their company cars. Well, we have to give back the apartment that has been our home for the past 32 years. So, not only do I worry where Nicholas will live, where will we live? Can we even afford to live in Manhattan, the only city Nicholas knows, and enable him to continue the AHRC day program that he so very, very much loves? I always say, I don't need Nicholas to live a long life. I need him to live a happy life. And those closest to me know what I'm saying. But to those of you who are here today, I'm basically saying that I'm hoping he predeceases me so I don't have to worry. And that when I die, I can take him with me. This is what goes in my mind every day. This is why I wake up at 4:30, my mind racing. For years, we have seen this fiscal neglect, rate cuts, statutory COLA freezes for not-for-profit providers until we got a small one last year. This year, right now, we're asking for 8.5%. Because when do we need it? We need it now.
Now.
When do we need it?
Now.
When do we need it? Now. And how much do we need? How much? We also need to support the not-for-profit providers. Those agencies who afford the much-needed services to our IDD community, and we must do everything possible to prevent their financial closings. It is these agencies that have been our lifeline for the past 28 years, and I say that mostly because of the DSPs that they have recruited, trained, and brought into our life as true professionals. Looking back at 2002, DSPs were making 33% more than minimum wage. Why? Because they were valued. The people they cared for were valued. What has happened here? It seems now that DSPs and the people they care for are truly, quite simply, underappreciated. And we need to change this. We need to pay DSPs what they deserve for the hard work they do. And if we can do this, they'll stay and retention rates will increase. Now, although we do not try to bring up wage discrepancies because we do appreciate the jobs the state DSP workers do, because after all, a DSP is a DSP no matter where they work. However, there is a huge discrepancy working as a DSP for a state versus for a nonprofit agency. It's become like an Oreo cookie. It's black and white. All right? We have lots of cookies to go around later, so all think black and white. The pay is different. One side and the other, okay? So that's where the Oreo cookie comes in, right? The state employees receive 45% more pay and full benefits for what? For doing the same job? We're not asking for a pot of gold, just a pot of unseparated Oreo cookies. Okay? Don't break us apart. Keep us together. We need to work together. We also need equal pay. We're all holding our equal little pins here, right? Yeah. Equal pay for same job, right? Sweeten the deal, Governor, right? Right? Equal pay for equal work. 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 And I'm going to finish this real briefly. Last Saturday, all of you know, the world lost a wonderful human being.
Yes.
Our beloved Judy Heumann, who was known as the mother of disability rights. She was fierce and unwavering, funny and effective. Yet she will also be remembered for her kindness and compassion. Ironically, she died on March 4th. So to continue her legacy and in her honor, let us continue to March 4th. And if you can't march, like Judy would say, roll.
My name is Mary Ann Berga. Our remarkable son Matthew is now 25 years old. He's bright, sweet, a heroic fighter, and has a wicked sense of humor. He has very severe spastic quadriplegic, cerebral palsy, seizures, and cortical vision impairment. He will always be completely dependent. He is our only child, and my husband and I worry nonstop about his future and what will happen to him as we age. I'm sure many of you can relate. In Matthew's lifetime, we have witnessed a steep decline in OPWDD services. In the pre-pandemic years, Governor Cuomo slashed budgets. Then COVID ravaged the world, killing so many of our vulnerable loved ones. Then, as we all collectively tried to crawl out from the heavy burdens of our grief, we found that things could indeed get worse. Many staff decided that working with our loved ones in the close quarters of a group home at minimum wages just wasn't worth nearly risking their lives. Additionally, the post-pandemic job market boom caused many DSPs to leave for better paying jobs outside the field. That shouldn't be. So many agencies and group homes closed, merged, or reduced their services. It's harder than ever to find residential and day services for our loved ones. And as long as Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services tie service rates and therefore DSP rates to the minimum wage, it will always be hard to fill these positions. There needs to be a better system. In our experience, we have never seen a group home setting which would have sufficient quality staffing to meet Matthew's profound needs. Deinstitutionalization, for all its benefits, is a double-edged sword. OPWDD is working to completely dismantle developmental centers and ICFs. Unfortunately, they're not keeping up with opening and building more community-based group homes, and they're absolutely not keeping up with building accessible residences nor staffing them adequately. If something were to happen to my husband or myself, Matthew would very likely end up in a nursing home, languishing among the sick and very elderly. There would be zero quality of life. No one is aged, no one to properly care for him. How long would he remain on a wait list? Especially as a high-needs individual. How could we ever trust strangers to properly care for him, especially since he's nonverbal, non-ambulatory, completely dependent, trusting, and would be extra vulnerable to abuse? This is our worst nightmare, and I'm sure many of you feel the same way. We must outlive him just to keep him safe. Our lives are of self-sacrifice, but that's our understanding of the true definition of love. 5 years ago, when Matthew was transitioning from New York City DOE programs to adult services, we discovered that there is a complete dearth of quality day programs for those with multiple or severe disabilities like he has. While touring, we found that he would only be considered for 2 programs, while his more functional classmates had a full array of choices. Parents like myself find that it is truly cost prohibitive for agencies to work with the severely disabled. There are no enhanced rates for day habs to adequately staff for high needs individuals. They will not pay agencies for wheelchair vans, elevators, Hoyer lifts, changing tables, and they lose rates for therapy pullouts. We face added discrimination within the already segregated disabilities world. This is a human rights catastrophe. Because our son's higher needs incur higher costs should not diminish his opportunities to live out a quality life. We have dedicated our lives to supporting him. Our disabled family members deserve equality, equity, and OPWDD must provide the supports they need to live complete lives and give some relief to exhausted and aging family members. Thank you.
I'm going to let you know how old I am. When I started as a DSP, the minimum wage was $3.35. Go ahead and laugh. And I made twice that. I loved my job, but I might not have thought about getting into this field at all if the pay hadn't been a little bit better than minimum wage. Now we can barely pay people above minimum wage, and it's just impossible. It's impossible for the people who want to do this work to stay in these jobs, and it's impossible for us to provide services. So the next person that I'd like to welcome up is Anne Marie Whitty.
Hi, good morning everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Anne Marie Whitty, and I came here today to talk to you about the need for more staffing in our community. Since the pandemic, there has been a huge shortage of staff, especially at my work program. Because of this, my work schedule was cut several times. I went from 5 days a week to only a couple of days a week. Some weeks I had to stay home because there was no staff. This has significantly affected my pay. When I'm at work, it empowers me. It makes me feel good, and it allows me to socialize with my peers. I miss my friends and want to get back to my full schedule, but that cannot happen until the staffing issue is resolved. And that starts with their wages. This situation has made me very angry, but I'm happy through this speech I'm able to voice my opinion. My community, my friends, and staff, we all fear that we will be faced with the same issues and conditions that occurred at this site 50 years ago due to funding. Do not let history repeat itself. Support the disabled community by supporting the people who work hard and deserve a fair wage. They help us not only achieve our goals, but our hopes and dreams. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to express our issues, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Anne Marie. So, what kind of COLA do we need again? 8.5%! That's right. And $4,000 in a salary increase for direct support staff. Next on the list is Kristen Thatcher.
Go ahead, Ms. Thatcher. I'm going to record this.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kristen Thatcher. I am a DSP direct support professional. I have been a DSP for 8 years. I also get supported by a job coach who is also a DSP because I have a disability too. In the 8 years that I've been a DSP, I haven't got a raise. At $15 an hour, how is a DSP supposed to support themselves or a family if they have one? They can't. It's not a living wage. That's why we can't fill the job openings that we have for DSPs. What does need to be done is to pay a fair wage to DSPs. DSPs are the backbone for nonprofits and our community. DSPs are important to our programs. They play an important role in the lives of the disabled and our community. DSPs get to know our lives in a personal level.
Equal pay! Equal pay! Equal pay! Equal pay! Equal
support sets for us. A great DSP creates a relationships of trust, safety, and continuity for us. Sadly, we lose our great DSPs to higher paying jobs that can't be filled the vacancies behind. Who wants to pay? Who wants to work for $15 an hour? When the fast food companies are paying more. This needs to stop now. For the disabled person experience a constant turnover of their DSPs, I can tell you, it's traumatizing.
It's traumatizing!
It causes stress, confusion, the feeling of abandonment, which leads to mistrust and serious sense of loss when we lose a DSP that we consider a friend.
Yep.
It's heartbreaking. Without DSPs and our programs for the disabled community would once again become invisible, isolated, and forgotten, just like we were on these grounds here years ago. We can't let that happen again! Paying a DSP a fair living wage is the right thing to do. It will free us of working multiple jobs or worse, forcing us to leave a job we love passionately because the salary can't meet the cost of living. Please invest in our disabled community and our DSPs that we desperately rely on. Fair wages for DSPs will provide a stable programs for the disabled. Repeat after me! Fair wages for DSPs!